Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Office Hours. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining me. Let me know if you can see me and hear me okay, and we will get this party started. Welcome. Charles and Linda, good to see you. Target Stream Media, happy holidays. Kaiser team, good afternoon. Alan Bell, hi from Dubai. Very cool. Friday's nearly over here. Yeah, thank you for joining us, Alan. Max, good to see you, sir. Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. Truth Seeker. I like that. Very good. Welcome, everybody. Happy start of the holiday season. Happy Friday. Welcome. Thank you for being here. And this is Office Hours. If you are not familiar with Office Hours is our weekly Q&A, which means I don't have any agenda for us other than to try and answer any questions that you may have and see if I can help out in any way. So nothing prepared. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. I am also going to put an invite link here where you can join me and hop on camera and have a conversation if you'd like. So if you have any questions that are longer, more complex, need more back and forth conversation, need to share a screen, anything like that, you can use that link. Otherwise, you're welcome to just post things into the comments, whichever is best for you. I am also going to go take a look at our community here. By now, FYI, if you have not transitioned to our community in high level, then you should make sure and do that. So we have been in Circle. Our community has been in Circle for the last, few years or so. We are now in a high level community. We've made that transition, which is awesome. I think their community feature is really good. I'm super impressed with it so far. So you are going to essentially miss out on the conversation if you are not over there. And in fact, if the Circle group has not been deleted yet, it will probably get deleted here by the end of the weekend, is my guess. So you will definitely want to make the move over to our high level group. And let me post a link. Do I even know how to post a link? Let's see. I'm not sure that I even know how to post a link to it yet. Let me see if there is a easy share button or whatever that they have in this. I'm not sure that they do. They probably do, and I just don't know. Let's give this a shot. I will. Oh, we've already got over 3,000 members in there, it says. So seems like word has gotten out, and seems like we should be pretty good to go. But that's a link there that I just took from inside of the group. So hopefully that link works for you to get over there. Let's see here. Question from Jeff. All courses and trainings will be moved as well? ? All courses and trainings are already moved, Jeff. So we've been using high level for our courses for quite some time now. If there is material that was posted inside of the old group, that has, yes, been migrated both to high levels community feature, as well as there is a membership area, most likely in almost all cases, that represents that also in our courses. So in other words, if we did a growth planning bootcamp live and we had a space for that in Circle where we were posting content, that content is also in a course called Growth Planning Bootcamp inside of our courses area in high level. So everything should be over there. You should be all set. If you find that anything is missing, certainly let us know. But I don't think that you will. And if you are still by chance in Teachable on a course, because that was where we used to host courses before, you can certainly let us know. I think we've migrated everything from Teachable at this point, but there could be a couple stragglers. So If there are, let us know, like I said, and you can always email help@servicesthatscale.com and we will take a look at that. There may be, like I said, a couple of straggler things that are still unteachable, and maybe for some reason we're not going to bother moving those. Like if they're courses we're not selling anymore or anything like that, it's possible that we're not going to move those. But I don't think so, because generally speaking, just like all customers of high level, if we can cancel paying other services because we're now on high level, we're doing that. And so we can cancel Circle, we can cancel Teachable. We've got all kinds of things that we can cancel now, which is fantastic. So anyway, please join us in the new community. And like I said, if you have any problems, just email help@servicesthatscale.com. Okay. Also, to let you know, we are doing a growth planning bootcamp this next week. And that's on Tuesday. I'm going to do a live growth planning bootcamp, 2 hours. This is something normally it's stretched out over more time, but I just want to get it in 2 hours here, get you a good start to your holidays, not take up too much of your time. But it is such a valuable process for me every single year to go through this growth planning bootcamp process myself, for my businesses, for my personal goals. And so I think that it can be very, very beneficial to you. I know it can be very beneficial to you if you put it to use. And I've had, wonderful feedback about it over the years. It's just a process that I follow that helps you get very, very clear as to what are the specific actions I need to take in this next year to hit my goals, to grow my business in particular. We'll talk about personal stuff as well, but it's really a planning process so that hey, if I do these things, I should expect my business to grow. Okay. And of course, there's variables that are outside of your control. And some of you are in different positions than others in terms of how clear do you have your target audience? How clear do you have your messaging? Things like that. And so, everybody's going to get, results will vary, right? Depending on where you are exactly. But it is the clearest process I have found and used with my businesses to be able to say, hey, we're at 500,000 now and we want to be at 1 million next year. How do we close that gap? Or I'm at 20,000 this year. I just got started and I need to get to 250, right? How do I start getting things going? So it will get you to a detailed level of here are the activities that I need to hold myself to every single day to get there. Okay, so I hope that you can join us. That is also posted in our community, as well as I've been emailing about it. It is open to anybody in the community that would like to join. Shoot, it's open to anybody that's not in the community that would like to join. I don't care. It's live, it's public. So please be there if you can. I would love to help you with that process. Okay. All right, let's see here. Questions coming in. Steven says, an agency offers 3 core solutions: AI voice calls, website SEO, and reviews reputation, plus a comprehensive bundle. Should they emphasize the full package or individual services? Steven, that's a great question. The answer is both. And let me explain that. So if I were marketing a business, an agency, like you're saying, that had these packages, so we have a comprehensive package, but we also have these individual packages that have more focused benefits, then I would advertise and I would promote all of those things. And everything would ultimately lead to that comprehensive bundle. Okay, so you want to, as much as possible with your marketing, you want your marketing to speak to the conversation that is in your prospect's mind, right? As they say. I didn't come up with that. That's something I first read in, who was the old advertising guy? Anyway, one of the legends of, direct response marketing and stuff, right? Is that you want to speak to the conversation that's in the prospect's mind already. So if I'm thinking about reputation, and damn it, I just got some terrible reviews, in my business, and they're unfair and they're up there for everybody to see, and that's the pain that I'm experiencing, that's the conversation that's in my mind already, then if I see an offer from you that's specifically about reviews and reputation, that's going to have a much higher chance of reaching me and getting a response than your general bundled marketing system. right? So neither marketing, either one of those is not right or wrong. It's just that you are going to reach that conversation inside the minds of more people. You have a better chance of doing it if you speak to as many individual issues as you can and roll up to the comprehensive. So if I had those 3 packages plus that comprehensive, I would be marketing all 4. Okay. I'm not saying that you shouldn't market the comprehensive, because there are small business owners that are out there and the conversation in their mind is, damn it, I'm sick of investing in all these little individual tools and I don't know how they, talk to each other, or they don't talk to each other. And somebody's telling me I have to do custom integrations, or I just don't have time to manage all this shit, right? I'm logging in and out of all these different platforms. I can't even remember what I'm paying for anymore. So the message of, we have a comprehensive system that can take care of all of that for you and everything's integrated, seamless, that's a great message too. So you want to put all of those messages out there. All right. That is the ideal scenario. And I say that is the ideal scenario because I know maybe for whatever reason, budget, like the just how much bandwidth you have, mental bandwidth, whatever it is, time, you may not market all 4 of those for whatever reason. So if for whatever reason you are not going to market all 4 of them at the same time, I would pick one, start marketing it. As soon as you've got that ramped up and you have a process around marketing it, start the next one, do the same process over, and just continue that until you do have a marketing process for all 4 of them going. You've got some ads, you've got some emails going out for all of them individually. And I would just, in terms of a tactical execution of that, I'd be running ads for all of those all the time. But then in terms of your email communication out to like anybody who's on your prospect list, anybody who's on your newsletter, that type of thing, I would rotate between each of those different offers. So week 1, talk about reputation in your newsletter and talk about that particular service. Week 2, you're talking about AI and you're talking about that particular service. Okay. So that would be my approach. I hope that that's helpful for you, Stephen. Bob says, as someone just starting out, 0 clients, what of your training is included with each level of high level access? I plan to start small and increase level as I get clients. Okay, Bob, great question. Thank you for asking. So I give you 100% of my bonuses, regardless of which plan for high level you sign up with through me. So sign up for high level at the 90s. If 97 is the right price point for you right now, which it sounds like it is, Bob, then just sign up for the 97. You'll still get access to all of my bonuses. If you're saying, no, for whatever reason, I want to dive in at the 497 because I want to set up those SaaS configurations right away and I've got the cash to do that, so I just want to jump in both feet, do that, and you'll still get access to all of my bonuses. It doesn't matter. I want you guys to have everything that you need regardless of what stage you're at. And then I would dive into the high leverage agency and just stay in there. Okay. Because you're just getting started out, focus is very important. Following as much of a path as possible for a period of time, I think is very important. And that's laid out in high leverage agency for you. Okay. Alan Bell says, I'm looking at the idea of a community, but not clear on the link setup process between high level and Go Collab. Are the 2 integrated, and can I manage it from high level? Okay, they are definitely, well, before I use the wrong words here, I was going to say they're definitely integrated, but let me just poke around a little bit and see if I really believe that is the right terminology. Hold on one second. Just going to go take a look at my agency account. So Go Collab is meant to essentially just be the public facing, the very public facing version of their community and groups capabilities. So this is essentially allowing you to put out a group that could be seen by the entire world, so you could use it as a lead magnet in a way of building up a community that would theoretically be of prospects and would give you a really nice, essentially a media platform to some extent, right? Where you'd be able to control the conversation, control the messaging that's going on in there, and be able to, again, use that to kind of build up a pipeline of opportunities. Whether or not it is integrated is a good question. Maybe somebody else here knows the answer, because when you say integrated, I think that means that there is, like, when you launch something on Go Collab, and let's say communication happens on Go Collab, that you are going to somehow experience that in high level and have access to the other high level features related to that community. And I'm just not sure, like I said, that that's the right language or way to think about it. And I'm also not seeing anything that's really obvious to me that is going to help me clarify that in as I'm just poking around in my agency account there. So Alan, I'm afraid I can't give you a real good answer on that right now. I will take that as a to-do though, and find that out myself, because we are looking at launching a community on Go Collab. And so I should know those details here before we do. Okay. Let's see here. I'm trying to work my way through the agency sales funnel bootcamp. It seems like the videos are quite outdated. Where can I get the R6 snapshot? Yes, the videos are outdated. I have not updated those in quite some time. And the R6 snapshot is inside of the R4. It's inside of High Leverage Agency. When I say the R4, I mean the R4, R6 now sales and marketing system. So it's inside that course if you have that. It's inside High Leverage Agency if you have that. Those are the two places. And actually, in fact, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. I believe it is only inside of the High Leverage Agency at the moment. I don't believe it's inside of the old R4 course. So the reason why that is the R4 works as a sales system regardless of whether you're using high level or not. You could be selling just about anything. The R6 side of that is specifically for using high level for service delivery. Okay. So if you are just trying to set up your sales process, you do not need the R6. The R4 is all you need for your sales process. Okay. The sales funnel bootcamp videos, yes, are outdated because I filmed it whenever I filmed it, and high level has changed so much since then. All of the concepts and the snapshot and everything like that is still completely valid. It's just the execution of here's where you're going to press the buttons inside of high level and things like that have changed. Maybe some of the language has changed as high level has updated some of their features. But the process, the order that you go through it, the snapshot that you use, everything else is still the same. It's still the R4. Okay. So just to clarify again, the R4 is for setting up your agency sales and marketing process. The R6 is for essentially setting up all of the marketing of your clients. It is a service delivery snapshot based on the R6 framework and based on the capabilities of high level. Okay. So I'm going to use R6 snapshot. Will it affect the instructions within the sales funnel bootcamp? No, not at all. Not in any way. Alan says, register for the bootcamp. I'm in the 0 to 250K camp. Awesome. Alan, we will do our best to get you in the 250K to 1 million camp here in the next year. AT says, for clarification, we use the R6 snapshot for our client and we use the R4 snapshot for our own business's sub account. Or do we use the R4 with our agency account and don't need a sub account? No, you need a sub account for your business. For your agency, you need to set up a sub account that is your business. So I have a sub account that is Services That Scale. I have a sub account that is There San Diego, right? So I'm operating those businesses out of those sub accounts, and you would, if you know your agency sub account, you would use the R4 snapshot in your agency sub account to set up your sales process. Okay. So the R6, again, you'd be using for service design and service delivery for your customers. So when you set up their snapshot. Now, the reality is all of the resources that are inside of the R4 could be used for any number of businesses from a process perspective. The sales process is a very common, very simple sales process, right? Which is drive leads to landing pages opt in, they get opted in, and they get taken to another page where ideally it's got a video of you saying, hey, this is Mike with Super Duper Marketing. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for opting in for our newsletter or for our lead magnet or whatever it is. Since you're here, just want to take a moment and tell you about our services. What we do is we help businesses like yours get their marketing in order and accomplish their growth goals through effective marketing systems. Specifically, what we do, XYZ, client successes that we've had, 1, 2, 3. If you'd like to have a conversation about these services, we've got a button down below here to book a call on our calendar. We'd love to have a conversation with you, no pressure, if it's a good fit to help you. So that process is a very, very common sales process that could work for all kinds of different businesses. So you could take that and, once you understand the mechanics of it, you could come across who knows how many businesses in your life that you could go, oh yeah, we'll just take that same sales process and use it for them. Okay. Right now, the language that's in it and the follow-up emails and text messages and things like that we've designed in there for you are all agency focused because I want to make it as easy for you to get started. But the process itself could be applied to, a law firm, whatever. I mean, any kinds of businesses. The R6 then has all kinds of snapshots and resources to help you execute a complete marketing system. You could take bits and pieces of those and execute them for a customer. You could take the whole thing and execute it for a customer. You could take bits and pieces of those and apply it to your business. Again, once you understand what's actually happening from a process perspective in those resources, you could apply them to almost any business with just a very little amount of tweaking and tuning. And that's really what the R6 is all about. The R6 is more of a blank canvas. It's not for agencies specifically. It's not for plumbers specifically. It's not for chiropractors specifically. It is a set of tools that with very little tweaking could be used for agencies, chiropractors, plumbers, restaurants, whatever you want it to be. Okay. So it's meant to be versatile and universal, if you will. Okay. If I offer the core R6 framework and an AI employee as a foot in the door, profit maximizer, should I list both on my service pages or keep foot in the door on the landing page? Also bundle discounts. Okay, Sam. So when you say landing page, that to me says that you are driving traffic with a specific message to a specific page to try and get a specific action. To me, that's a landing page, right? It's not just my general website. I've run an ad that says learn about AI employee. I take them to a landing page. That landing page should focus on AI employee. Okay, probably the number one rule of landing pages is that we don't want to distract or overwhelm. Okay, we want to, you came here, you clicked on this message, you are interested in that message. When you get to your destination, you should be on the same message. You don't want to have any sort of feeling of bait and switch or confusion about, wait a minute, I just clicked on this and now it's talking about this general marketing system. No, I was interested in AI employee. So you want to keep them on that track. Now, if you're saying, should I list more generally though, that we do AI employee and we also do these other services on your website in general? Absolutely. So on your general website, let's say somebody hits that landing page. Maybe they opt in there, maybe they don't. Maybe they go, who are these, who are these guys? And what is this service all about? What is this business all about? And so they just go and do a little research more on who your agency, who you are as an agency first before they're going to opt into anything, which lots of people do, right? And then they get over to your website and they can see a more complete picture of who you are and what you offer. I think that's a good thing. There's no reason to try and hide, for any reason on your main website, the types of services that you offer. So on your main website, absolutely paint the whole picture. on a landing page, keep it focused. Okay. And then you mentioned also bundle discounts. So I think you're asking, if I bundle these things all together, how do I, what kind of a discount do I offer? I'm a little hesitant to answer that without knowing your your service structure, your pricing, your gross margins in particular. Okay, so let me just give you some rules of thumb. I would want you at a bare minimum, I would want your services to have 67% gross margins. And I could break down for the next hour why 67%, but just trust me on that one, if you will, that's a really good number to use as a minimum gross margin for your services. So any bundling discounting that you're doing would need to honor that rule first and foremost. If you are bundling anything and going below 67% gross margins, I would say you're making a big mistake and that you should not discount that much. On the other hand, if you've got room in the gross margins and you have the ability to bundle and offer a 15%, 20% discount, something like that, I think that my experience has been, when it comes to services like this, 15 to 20% discount feels like a real discount to people. It feels significant enough that it moves the needle on decision making. 10% kind of feels like, it's not so much. And part of this is my own psychology, and we've all got different psychology around this. So some people may say, yeah, 10%, that's a great discount. If you're discounting all the way down to 40% discount, then I kind of am like, well, why are you discounting so much? I mean, I must be getting screwed on these other packages if I don't get the bundle, because you've inflated them so much that you can discount 40%. That feels to me like that's too much. So in my experience, again, in selling services like this, 15 to 20% is that feels like a very considerable discount and would move the needle on making purchases. So I just think, again, none of that matters unless you're hitting your gross margin targets. And it's a complete disaster if you are not hitting your gross margin targets. Okay. That is like the most important rule that all of you can follow, because you can build a business from $0 to $3 million a year super fast and have poor gross margins. And all you will do is put yourself on an increasingly fast and increasingly inclined treadmill. You'll be running your ass off, taking care of your customers, bragging to the world about how you're now at $3 million in sales, and you won't be able to put food on the table because there's no meat on the bone. There's no money left at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if you're doing 1 million, 3 million, 5 million. So you do not want to mess with some of those hard rules of business. And that definitely is one. Okay. Are there any plans that you're aware of for LinkedIn connection requests and messaging from Go High Level? Alan, I am aware that is certainly something that is front and center on their radar. I believe that it is a LinkedIn issue. I believe that it's an issue of LinkedIn not allowing them to integrate. You can bet your bottom dollar that Sean is doing everything he can to work his way in there, just like WhatsApp. WhatsApp was a multi-year process of them negotiating with Meta, Facebook at the time, to be able to make that happen. And they're High Level is willing to do it. They're willing to spend the money to do it. They're aggressive. So you can bet that they're trying to have every conversation they can to make that happen. For voice AI, what's the best forwarding strategy for handling a business's existing phone number? John, the only strategy I would know of is to just have the number, their existing number, get forwarded to the new AI number that you want to use. And you could put conditions around that, like it only forwards at night, right? So the business is staffed by human beings during the day and they want to make sure that a real human being picks it up. And so then at night, it forwards to the AI number. You could do something like that if you wanted to, but I don't know of any more sophisticated approach other than number one points to number two. And I gotta say, man, guys, we are really experimenting with the AI voice for our own businesses. We're testing things, and it's not live right now, so please don't go hammer our phone numbers. But I mean, it's live for their for services at scale. You can call that if you want to. But for their San Diego, we're experimenting with, okay, how robust can we make this? How much can we really take advantage of this from a sales perspective, service perspective? It's exciting. It really is. Like, I've been doing some test calls, and I'll just say stuff like, hey, how's the weather in San Diego today, by the way? And the conversational nature of the AI capabilities without, it's not like we sat there and typed in, hey, if somebody asks about the weather, you should give a response like this. We're not doing that. These are just things that we're just testing on the fly. It does a really nice job. And I can only imagine that, 12 months from now, that's just going to be really pretty insane. Alan Bell says integration, the two-way processes you suggest, and this is talking about the groups, the collab, Go Collab feature, as there's the lead connector app that I've just downloaded but haven't played with yet. The media portal approach is what I'm thinking of. Cool. Yeah, awesome. I will, Alan, get some info on this, and I will post it in my community. Okay. Charles and Linda says, any update on their San Diego licensing? No update at the moment, Charles and Linda. I'm doing my own personal mountaintop thinking here as I go into the next year, and I'll have an update for you here in the next, let's just call it 30 days. Okay. Yes, absolutely, Asher. Yes, Asher says, in the past, you have made references to systems as a service. Could you recap that, please? Yes. So, hold on one second. How about I pull up some slides here real quick to recap that. Turns out I think I have the right presentation up. Yes, I do. Perfect. I have the right presentation already up. So let me go ahead and share my screen. So when I am referring to systems as a service, it starts from understanding the types of buyers that are in the marketplace. If you're selling to small businesses, okay, you have tools buyers. So you have buyers that they say, hey, no, look, I understand this marketing stuff. I have time for this marketing stuff. I want to do it. Just give me the tools. Give me MailChimp. Give me a funnel building software. I'll do all of this stuff. I am a marketer. Just give me the tools to do the job. Okay. So there are small businesses that's the way they operate. They have some marketing talent on staff, and they say, yeah, we just want the tools so we can do the job. Those are the customers that very well-funded software startups sell to directly in the small business space, right? And some actually organic growth, like ConvertKit is a perfect example. ConvertKit didn't raise a bunch of venture capital money. They organically grew slowly over time, and then it's taken off, and it's an incredible business now. But usually, if you're selling software tools to small businesses, you are raising a ton of venture capital money, and you are using that money primarily for sales and marketing costs to try and go after that market. And you are buying market share. And so the reason why I do not recommend, at least today, and this is always subject to change, but the reason why I do not recommend that you just promote that you have a set of tools because you're signed up for high level now, you're a high level reseller agency, now you just say, we are a really awesome marketing automation tool, is because you are now directly competing against those startups that have raised $100 million and will just spend it all to buy customers because they're buying market share, because that's what VCs do, knowing that X years later they can take it public and exit it. So they will run at a loss for years and years and years, just buying market share. It's very hard to compete against that unless you happen to have $100 million war chest to bring to the game as well. Okay. And if you're on this call, you probably do not. On the far other end of that spectrum is what we typically think of when we say an agency customer. Okay. So when you hear people talk about, I started an agency, particularly pre-high level. So let's say 5 years ago, if you heard somebody saying that they had an agency, what that really typically meant was that they were just doing a bunch of custom work where they were billing by the hour. So they were selling what I call their time and talent. It was a time and talent model, right? I'm a smart, capable marketing person. You need marketing help. I charge $150 an hour, whether or not that's how I pitch my services or I pitch it as a proposal for a new website where it's $10,000. It's really based on my time to develop that website. Okay, time and talent model. You're doing all kinds of custom stuff. In the small business space, that evolved in a lot of cases to the whole lead generation model where you're charging somebody like $2,500 a month. You're generating leads for them. And it's supposed to be the business's job to then capitalize on those leads and make money from those leads and follow up on those leads. That turned out to be a terrible model in most cases because most small businesses can't afford $2,500 a month, one. And two, they do not do a good job following up. And so those leads turn into nothing and they blame you. And you can ask Sean Clark this because he knows, because those were his first customers when he started High Level, was agencies doing lead gen. And then he quickly realized he had to pivot because when he was able to see under the hood of all those agencies, he realized they were all doing terribly because they were churning customers on average every 3 months, 2 to 3 months, and never really making any money. And so it was this sexy thing to be able to say you're a lead gen agency, but in most cases, it was a failing model. In between is selling what I refer to as systems as a service. Now, you can replace that word systems if you want to, if it doesn't mean anything to you. Let me explain to you what it means to me. A system is a complete set of tools, resources, processes, and services to accomplish the marketing goals of the business. So it includes the high-level tools. It includes probably some of what we may think of as some agency style services. But mostly what it is it's a proven, complete set of those tools and processes that you are putting in place for that small business so that they don't have to sit and try and figure out, how do I build a funnel? What is a funnel? How do I build a funnel? Should I have upsells on my funnel? What are workflows? Should I automate those workflows? Or should I learn to build those workflows? You are doing that as the service provider. You know what funnels are. You know what workflows are. You know how to integrate that with the review capture system of High Level. You know how to configure the pipeline, the opportunity pipeline, to help these small businesses see all of their opportunities and take full advantage of those opportunities. You know how to put in place automated email campaigns. So instead of just selling them the tools, and instead of just doing custom work for them, we are selling a complete system where there is some customization that will happen, certainly at the beginning, of how those tools are set up, and I'm just using some general examples here, what workflows you have in place for them, what funnels you have in place for them, how you've configured the opportunity pipeline. Those things customized for the particular nature of that business, but then it's a marketing system that works and it's in place for that business. And ideally, if you're taking the R6 approach, it's covering a lot of these very core essential systems that a small business needs in place to do successful marketing. Okay. So you're selling a system as a service instead of selling tools and instead of selling custom agency work. And the big difference is, if you think about the majority of small business buyers, they just want to accomplish their goals. I want to grow. I want to make more money. Could be more specific than that. Again, based on the conversation that's already in their mind. I've been getting hammered with negative reviews and they're bullshit and they're screwing with my ranking and my business. I need to get those cleaned up and I need to get more good reviews. So it could be more specific things like that. But that plumber just wants those goals accomplished. They don't want to sit and learn how to be a funnel builder. They don't want to sit and learn how to be a direct response marketer. And neither do most chiropractors, and neither do most home builders, and neither do most landscapers, and neither do yada, 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 restaurant owners, whatever. They just want to be able to run their business and accomplish their goals in their business. I want to be the best restaurant operator. I want to serve the best food, take care of my guests in the best way possible, and make the most money I can. I know I need this stuff, but I don't have any time for this stuff. I don't want to learn how to be a marketer. I don't want to learn how to build funnels. So that's what you do for them, is you put that system in place for them. Okay? So I hope that that makes sense for you from an explanation perspective. Whether or not you agree with that, and that's the strategy that you want to take, of course, that is entirely up to you, but I hope that that at least clarifies what I mean by that. All right, we use ChatGPT to completely transfer the R6 model and the lead magnet to a specific niche that we own a business in. It will save them a bunch of time. That's so awesome, John. I love that. And that's, man, if you aren't thinking like that, like John is, if you aren't thinking about how do I take these resources, toss them into ChatGPT, use them in a different way or a more refined way or whatever for my needs or for my customers' needs, you are missing out on the power of ChatGPT and AI. So make sure you're doing that. Jared says, hey, Mike, I just want to say I love your R4, R6. Thank you. They've been game changers for me. Looking forward to shaking your hand at the summit in 2025. I love it, Jared. I'm looking forward to it as well. Andy says, does the 67% gross margin recommendation include usage Twilio charges outside of bundled items? Yes. So Andy, you should make sure that those service charges are generally marked up to a 67% gross margin as well. Okay. There could be cases, Andy, where those usage charges, you are not specifically marking those up to that high of a margin, and it could be okay. And the reason why that could be is because your overall blended gross margins could still be high enough. So in other words, if your core service that you're charging them for, you had 80% gross margins, and you wanted to throw in some Twilio charges for them, and you wanted to do that at more competitive rates because maybe they're already aware of, hey, I've used this platform for texting for years and it's cheaper than what you were telling me. You could lower the margins on those services and still have plenty of room because of the 80% margins on your core package. So that could be fine. You got to use your judgment on this stuff. Generally speaking, I just want everybody to aim for that 67% as a minimum. Are these the only scripts that I need to practice? R6 introduction script and R6 strategy call script. I mean, if you aren't doing any cold calling to get customers, then yes, if you're doing cold calling, you need to practice cold calling scripts and objection handling, brush off objection handling specifically for cold calling. But if you are just, having the, if you're just talking about the conversation, if you have a lead that is interested, a prospect that is interested, and you're having the conversation with them to move them forward through the deal from that point on, then yes, those scripts. Okay. Also, I noticed when going through the strategy call script, you pointed back to the introductory script at one point. I'm a little confused as how I'm supposed to use these two scripts. Cool. So the introductory script, let's walk through what a typical successful sales conversation would look like. So let's say, AH, you just called up my office, booked a time on my calendar. I've never met you before, never had a conversation with you before. I would want to do an introduction of myself and my services, and also ask you questions to make sure that I'm qualifying you that you are actually a really solid prospect for me before I go plan on investing time into a greater sales conversation. Okay. This will vary to a large extent depending on exactly what you're selling in your sales strategy. So in other words, I had Clay on a call here pretty recently, where Clay from Review Harvest, All he sells is one very simple, specific service right now. So his sales conversation is going to be just really quick, really to the point, and hey, let's get started, right? Because all we do is get you more reviews. I'm going to get you your first 50 reviews free. All you have to do is say yes, and I'll set up everything right now. So it's just that simple. Okay. So if you're taking that approach, then your sales conversation obviously is going to be less than what I'm talking about in this example. If you're selling a complete system approach, or you're selling something that's just a little bit more complex service, let's say that you're going to, be building a new website and a new lead generation process for somebody, right? You're going to have more of a conversation with them to make sure that it's the right fit, to make sure you can help them, to make sure you're confident they can pay the bills and that you want to work with them and all that stuff. So that first introductory conversation is just going to be generally somewhere probably between a 15 and 20 minute. Hey, here's what we do. Here's who we do it for. At a very high level, how we do it. Let me ask you some questions. Why did you get in touch with us today? What prompted you to get in touch with us? What are you currently doing to market your business? Do you have a marketing budget? What's worked for you? What hasn't worked for you? What are you hoping to accomplish? Okay, now I'm qualifying you, right? Based on your answers to see, do I even want to work with you? Is this a good fit to even go into the full sales conversation? So let's say we have that conversation. That's an introductory script and things look good. Then I'm going to say, great, AH. Well, hey, it's been nice talking with you here so far. I do think that we're a good fit to potentially help you with your marketing goals. If you'd like, and you have the time right now, we can continue the conversation and we'll get more in depth into our services and how specifically I think that we could help you. I'll have some more questions for you, things like that. And that could be another 40-minute conversation. Or if you agree that you think that, this seems like it could be a good fit, but you may have some other members on your team who want into this conversation, stuff like that, I would suggest that we then schedule a follow-up conversation where we'll go into this in more depth. And so that two-step there, the introductory and then the more in-depth sales conversation, it's a really smart two-step to have that in place for you so that you don't waste time with people who aren't really qualified. If you just sit down with the intention of, I just found this prospect and now I'm going to try and take them through an hour-long sales pitch and sell them, it's not a good conversation for either of you, really. So let's say, though, that you go on to that second conversation, and let's say it's a scheduled conversation for a week from now. They've got 2 other members on their team that are now joining the call. In that case, you reference back to that introductory script because now you've got 2 new people on the call, and you don't want to assume that the person that you had the introductory call with has done a good job of passing on the information about your business to these other 2 people. You want to control this conversation. So now that you've got 2 more people, you're going to say, hey, nice to meet, the 2 new people on the call. Just so you know, I already had a conversation with, Bob here, where we spent some time going over who we are and how we do things. I'm just going to briefly recap that and briefly recap what I think I learned and heard from him, just to make sure we're all on the same page here before we move forward. And you're going to take, that recap probably then only takes you 5 minutes instead of the 20 minutes. But I'm just in that second script, I'm just referencing back to that introductory conversation script, just so you are tying those 2 things together. Okay. And I should say, AH, you also, you should be prepared to go through both scripts in one shot, particularly if you have a leaner set of services that you're offering, like Clay from Review Harvest, right? The less services you're offering, the faster you can go through the whole sales process. It can be just super simple, right? If you're offering more services, that more complete system, something more sophisticated, then you should plan on it's going to be more of a sales conversation. But you should still plan on being able to go through it right out of the gate, because that prospect may be like, yeah, I'm picking up what you're laying down, AH. I've been reading your newsletter for the last 6 months. I love everything that you're saying, and I'm really interested in this. So let's do this. So you want to be able to go with it, that whole thing. Be prepared to go. Okay. Jared says, be careful though, as you can enter into an underpaid fractional CMO role by doing that. Well, yeah, that's super important. You definitely don't want to taking over all of the marketing for a small business. Yeah. I would never, ever, ever suggest, well, I shouldn't say never, ever, ever, but in the far majority of cases, you should not be taking over all of the marketing for the small business. You should be taking over the implementation and execution of the marketing systems for the business. Okay. So they are still going to need to maybe send their newsletter every month, do their social posts, right? Somebody's still got to do that. That could be you. That could be part of your service. But if it is, then the underpaid part of that is key there. Then it's your job, again, to make sure, yes, we offer a social posting service. If you'd like, you can log into the tools that we've set up for you and you can do all your own social posting. Or if you'd like us to do it for an extra X dollars a month, we'll manage the social posting for you through this system and we'll take care of that for you. So then it's your job to make sure that the extra service that you just sold there is at those appropriate margins, the 67% or better margins. Okay. So what you don't want to do, and this is really important, and I think more of what Jared is alluding to here, you do not want to be the, oh, now the customer just called me and said, hey, we'd really like it if you do a reel for us because we're not doing enough Instagram reels. I just read an article on Instagram reels and we should do that. Can you put together a reel for us? And a typical agency would go, yeah, we can do Instagram reels. Yeah, sure, we'll do that. And because they're just selling their time. They don't care. It's like, yeah, oh, that took me 3 hours. 3 hours, $150 an hour. Great. I just billed you for your reel, right? That is not the way that you operate according to my approach to this business. When you sell a system, you sell a predefined set of services with specific boundaries at a specific price point. It's just like a product on a shelf at Walmart, right? You go in, here's what I'm getting. It's on the shelf. It costs that much. I can't negotiate for new features with anybody at Walmart. I either buy the damn thing off the shelf or I don't. Or I buy the thing and it's got some accessories over here that I could also buy, right? But it's a package. That's the way that you present your services. It's a package. That package could be, we don't do any social posting. That package could be, we do 5 social posts a week and that's it. And reels are not included. We don't create any reels. If you have reels that you've created that you'd like us to post for you, that's fine. We don't do any reel creation. We only do image posts, So you define that specifically. And that is what you take to the market and sell. And if a customer does not want those things, you move on. You do not go, oh, well, shoot, I'm about to lose this deal. So yeah, I can do reels for you as well. You don't do the custom agency nonsense. That is a broken business model. It does not work. Okay. So you can absolutely be a fractional CMO for your customers. You just have to define what that means, what the price point is, and what the boundaries are. And you have to clearly communicate to your prospect or to your customer, here's the service, here are the boundaries. Anything outside of the boundaries is either an extra accessory that you're going to buy at Walmart and you're going to have to pay more for, or it's something we simply do not offer. We are not in the business of doing reels. We're not in the business of doing custom direct mail campaigns. No, we will not handle any of that shit for you, right? This is our offer. So that is your job to define the offer and do it at the margins that work. And that's the biggest mistake of the agency business model, is that agencies almost never really define their offers. They never say, here's a package with a name, with certain features and benefits, with boundaries. They just say, we're marketing experts and we'll be your fractional marketing CMO. And it's this much money a month, or it's this much money an hour. And they end up just doing a bunch of custom stuff and getting fired because their business model stinks. Does AI employee replace miscalled text back? Do you offer one or both? A bit confused. It could to a very large extent, maybe Anita, in almost all cases, replace miscalled text back. But there could still be lots of small businesses out there that don't want AI employee that missed call text back would be an excellent service for. Because there's going to be a lot of small businesses that are going to be like, I don't want a robot picking up my phone, type of thing, right? So you're going to get a lot of that, particularly for a while, until people get, really nailed down on what AI is and are they comfortable with it. So until then, missed call text back, could still be an incredible service offer. If I have an AI employee picking up the phone every time, then theoretically I shouldn't be missing calls. So it would, in that case, essentially make that no longer a necessary service. Jared says, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Customers will always push for more outside the scope of your offer until you say no. Yes. And it is your job. I just put up a YouTube short. I believe, was it this morning? YouTube short went up that says the most profitable word in the agency business is no. Until you learn to be, big boys and big girls and be able to say no when a prospect says, I want something, you are going to have a terrible business. If you say yes to everything that your prospects want, you are going to have a terrible business. And this is the allure of the agency business, is that, I can just say yes to everything. They got money to spend, I'm going to say yes, right? And that's when people say, and Clay actually talked about this. Again, go back to the interview I just did with Clay. He built an agency first, and he grew that to a pretty good size quickly, and his life was hell. He talks about it in the interview. He was like, I had no time, could not sleep, could not do anything, could not take a day off, because I was just at the end of the end of the whip with my customers. They wanted something, I had to just scramble to get it done, and I never had any time. Versus now, you hear him talk. Now he sells a $97 a month simple solution, completely systematized, and it's taken him longer to build up the revenue because it's only $97 a month. So it takes a little bit longer to build it up. But now he's over $20K a month in recurring. Probably by the time we're having this conversation, he's probably closer to $30K a month in recurring. And he's like, I have all the time in the world. My life is completely flexible. If a customer fires me, not to say I don't care, but it doesn't even impact my life, because it was a $97 a month customer, and I'm just signing up 2 more $97 a month customers today anyway, right? So it's a completely different model, a completely different life and lifestyle and ability to manage your business profitably. So you've got to define your offer, and you've got to say no to things that are outside of the scope of what you do. Okay, it is not your job to be Mr. or Mrs. Flexibility for every prospect that comes along that wants to sling a little bit of money at you. Yes, absolutely, James. Because the reality is small businesses cannot afford to sling money at you. Okay, you may get lured into the trap of, oh man, they said they'll do a custom this or that for me. Just trust me, with way too much experience selling to small businesses, is whatever they're offering you is not enough money. Whatever they're offering you is not enough money to give up the life that you will have if you stick to the right business model. Okay, models matter. And if you go chasing money and giving up on your model, guess what? 3 years from now, you'll be on this call and we'll be having the same conversation. And you'll be going, oh man, I've been doing custom websites still, because somebody will pay me for custom websites and they offer me $5,000 for that custom website. And your system that you're telling me to sell is only $397 a month. I can't give up that $5,000. Well, guess what? You're going to be doing that for the next 20 years, and you're never going to have time, and you're never going to escape that, because your model sucks. It's not because you're a bad human being. Your model sucks. Versus if you stick to a model, there's going to be challenges to it at first, but if you stick to a healthy business model, eventually that recurring revenue stacks up with great margins, and now you can breathe, and you have automated most of your service delivery, and you've completely standardized your service delivery, and you're getting $397 a month from 250 small businesses, and it's at 70% gross margins. You got a good life. Things are good. Okay. So that was a little rant, but man, I get frustrated seeing people ignore the power of the right model for a couple of bucks. Could you please explain how the foot in the door service is segueing into the full-blown core service package that we are ideally to sell for top dollar? So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. So let's say that your complete system includes a website, AI employee, email, CRM, reputation management, whatever, but you are leading with the offer of a website. And you're saying, hey, chiropractors, we'll build you a brand new, professional, beautiful website for $497, one-time offer. These things normally cost $5,000, $10,000. We're going to do 20 of them this month at just $497. So you sell somebody on that $497 website, or better yet, you follow my approach of you give them the website free, but you sell them the hosting of it for $97 a month. And now you say, hey, awesome, we've got this website. A really effective website is not just a brochure, it's dynamic and it's connected to the rest of your marketing system. So it should have a place where we're publishing reviews on it and capturing reviews to be able to be published on there. It should have lead capture, and that lead capture should go into your CRM and go into a follow-up process. If you'd like, we can talk about how we can set up our entire system for you to now maximize the impact of that new website. So that's the upsell. And it's the same no matter what you're selling as a foot in the door. Let's say you sold AI employee as a foot in the door. Awesome. Really fantastic service. This is just one of the ways that our marketing system will help you be more efficient, save you money, generate more business. Let me tell you about the other ways, right? So you're just having that conversation. So the original strategy call, we were trying to sell the foot in the door service or the full core package. Yes. What I mean by that is, what did you market? If you marketed the foot in the door, then the conversation should be about the foot in the door, and the sales pitch should be about the foot in the door, and you should sell them the foot in the door before you then try to sell them on the full system. Okay. If the marketing was about the full system, then be prepared to sell the full system. Another nugget of encouragement for cold callers: expect to make 1,000 cold calls before landing your first client. It's a grind, but with compounding SaaS, your efforts pay off. Jared, that's awesome. That's great. I think that's great realistic expectation setting. And also, I'm glad to hear that it's paying off for you. I'm a big fan of, so we talked about this on the last office hours call, but I have done more homework into it, and I'm now actually setting it up for my team. I'm a big fan of Kixie. So I've always talked about that I used Phone Burner. So Phone Burner was the system I used with my team for years to do really high volume outbound prospecting, cold prospecting. Kixie is essentially a replacement for Phone Burner, but the thing that I really love about it is that it's got a complete integration with High Level. And it's got some really cool technology here to accelerate your prospecting. So as an example, I've never seen this before. It will do 10 calls at once, which is pretty cool. Up to 10 calls. You don't have to have it do that many, but it will do up to 10 calls at once. And as soon as a live human being answers on any one of those calls, it will just immediately end the other calls. So, but that way it's just maximizing. It's like, hey, we're dialing 10 people at once to give you the very best chance of actually getting a hold of a live human being every single time we dial for you. Pretty darn slick. I do have an affiliate link for them if you want it. It's, not a huge deal to me either way. But I haven't put together a bonus for it yet or anything like that. I will, though, offer all of my outbound calling and prospecting training and stuff like that, certainly for anybody who signs up for Kixie through me. I don't even know that I have like a set link in here or anything like that, but I believe it's just, if you just go to labspecial.com/Kixie, I believe that should get you there. I'll just make sure real quick. But I'm a big fan of the software. It's slick. And again, like I said, I just like In particular, there's real benefit to it integrating with high level because of the way that they are, the way that they're just passing that information back and forth between the between Kixie and high level. It's just gonna add additional efficiency to your life. So labspecial.com/Kixie. If for some reason that doesn't work right now, I'll make sure it works here by the time we wrap up this call. Like I said, I know I have an affiliate link, but I don't know that I've actually set it up or anything yet. So like I said, I will make sure that works at some point or another. If you're interested, they do have a free trial. And I do think it's a really nice service. I am not the biggest fan of just doing cold prospecting anymore. That was the way I built 2 businesses. But the world has changed with inbound marketing and content marketing. And I want you all to make sure that you are doing content marketing and inbound marketing. But if you are trying to ramp things up, then doing cold prospecting can be a great way to make sure that you're just putting all your effort into ramping things up as quickly as you can. Okay. Go High Level has calling feature that we need to use Kixie. Can you please elaborate on difference between what Go High Level is offering for calling and why we need Kixie? Yeah, Samir, Kixie is just, if you're doing serious outbound cold prospecting. So when I say serious outbound cold prospecting, I mean, if you're sitting for hours a day trying to make cold calls to connect with business owners, Kixie, Phone Burner, some of these other platforms have just developed all of these processes and technologies to just make that as crazy efficient as possible. And there's all kinds of things that go into that high level does not do. Okay, it's just all kinds of things that are designed to just make it as absolutely as efficient as possible. Because cold prospecting is a grind. It's a grind. And so you want to minimize as much of that grind as possible and take as much time out of it as possible. And that's what Kixie is designed to do. Okay. Sure says good for cold calling, but don't use it for Facebook or warm leads, as you would not want to ring their phone and then drop the call before they had a chance to answer if they were expecting you. Oh, shoot. No. You should do it for cold prospecting. Absolutely. And if you were, for whatever reason though, doing it for warm leads, I would make sure that you're using a number. So Kixie owns like 100,000 phone numbers, local phone numbers. And so what they'll do is they'll set you up with a local phone number for wherever you're calling. So if I'm calling into San Diego, it will be coming from a San Diego number when I call, but that number will not identify me. So that's what you would want to use if you're doing that mass outbound calling, and then you're going to hang up on 9 out of the 10 people because the number would not show that it's you. You definitely don't want to call them and then hang up on you if it shows that it's you calling, right? You don't want to call and hang up on them. So yes, really, this is for cold prospecting. Okay. Kathy, not sure if there was something that was supposed to go in there, but it looks like it didn't make it. So just a heads up. Yes, I would only use Kixie for cold outbound prospecting. Okay. Absolutely. And Samir, just an example of that efficiency, again, is like it will dial 10 numbers at once. That's just one example, but there's lots of examples of how they make cold prospecting more efficient. And Samir, just so you know, from my own personal experience with Phone Burner, which is very similar to Kixie, I would take my team from making somewhere between 60 and 100 dials to making between 300 and 400 dials a day. So literally triple or quadruple or more the productivity of my salespeople. Okay. So if you're going to do it with all the efficiency that you possibly can so that it's not such a grind. Let's see here. Anything else? Let me know. I don't see any other questions in the side right now. I'm going to go take a look at the group and see if I see anything in here. Alan Little says, I need to perform my first A2P verification. What would be the best process to follow for 800 numbers and separately local numbers? Whew, I do not know. Charlie says, I'm working with a client whose website links directly to WhatsApp Business. Since WhatsApp Business uses AI, How can Go High Level's AI assistant complement or stand out? I get it. Go High Level has workflows in the mix, but I'm curious if anyone has run into this discussion. Charlie, I don't know. I'd have to get into WhatsApp and really play around with that to understand it. I'm not that familiar with it. Oh gosh, okay. There's all kinds of questions in there. I'm just going to go ahead and answer those in the group to make sure I'm getting back to those people. How do you handle working insurance? Go High Level at the same time. How do you handle working insurance and Go High Level at the same time? Austin, I'm assuming you're saying you work in insurance and you want to essentially start a high level agency as well. I mean, if you're working any full-time business, any full-time job, and you want to do this as well, I would say a couple of things. One is I would come up with a very, very simple service so that the setup of it and the execution of it should be super simple and super automated. So example, Clay, review harvest, like his approach of he has a very simple automated service and that's all he offers. I would take that same approach so that you can just try and make everything about your business as efficient as possible, from the sales and marketing all the way down to the service execution. Thanks, Austin. I appreciate it. So I just keep it super, super simple. I would invest as much as you possibly can in marketing your services through content and ads to try and get customers instead of having to do the manual outbound prospecting that we were talking about, because you'll probably not really have time to do that. So you need to get leverage on your time. Use some of the money you're getting from your job to get leverage for your time by doing content marketing and ads and things like that. And then, man, I'll be honest with you, like you just have to be crazy disciplined about your time. Like if you have to work 8 hours a day at a job and you say, okay, now I can put another 4 hours each day into trying to build this business, you just gotta be disciplined. You just gotta be crazy disciplined, and also to some extent just be patient with yourself. It's going to take time. Like you're only putting a very part-time effort into that business, so it's going to take you longer to get it going. It's just reality. Yeah, grind. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. It doesn't sound fun, and it can be a grind. Yeah, absolutely, Austin. And look, we've all done it. Well, I shouldn't say we've all done it. Anybody who's gotten ahead as an entrepreneur has done the grind at least once. Holy smokes, man! I've done it 3 or 4 times now, where 2-year periods of my life felt like, geez, this is just a grind. And then, but you're making progress. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you just gotta keep your head down and stick with it. So, absolutely. You bet, Austin. I appreciate you. Jared says, I had a telesales life insurance agency. You can set up high level for yourself and then charge your agents monthly access to the CRM. Different model in R4, R6, but you get MRR from your agents that way. That's cool, Jared. It's a great strategy. Start small. Do not quit your job. I like that. Build it up over time. People that build a business at the same time they're working have a 30% more chance of success. Yeah, John, I think that is generally good advice. I got to tell you, I couldn't do it that way. I don't think I could anyway. I've never done it that way. The only way that I've ever done it is I just go all in. I quit. I jump with both feet. I run up my credit cards. I do whatever I have to do to get going. That works for me. I'm not suggesting it as a strategy for everybody. I think you just need to know yourself. And for me, what I knew about myself was if I was distracted with a full-time job while I was trying to build my business, I wouldn't get it done. Like it was, just too much. And so I've always just gone all in. Now, again, I think it's important to know yourself, and it's also important to know your financial reserves and your overhead and your willingness to give up certain lifestyle benefits while you're doing that, like, there's trade-offs to everything, and you've got to be realistic about all of those. So yeah, John says only 5% can jump right in. You and I are not the norms. We've been doing it a long time. True. And barely survived multiple times, right? Multiple times have I been up against the ropes in a position that would make most people very, very, very uncomfortable and make rational people go, dude, you need to quit and just get a job. So it's not all sexy. That's for damn sure. Use GHL to automate some of your job, sell it to other insurance agents. Absolutely. That's awesome. That's great advice. Do I have an online course or anything? Yes, sir, Austin. I have lots of online courses. So if you go to here, I'll just put the link in here. I'll pull up the website and show you. So this is my website. And if you go to that website, servicesthatscale.com, and in particular, if you want to see all the courses, you go right here to products and hit that, and you're going to see I've got all kinds of stuff. I've been doing training, Austin, for 15 years or so. So I've got all kinds of stuff up there. Okay. And then I walked away from a 20-year career, 150K plus salary in 2022 and never looked back. That's awesome, Jared. Good for you. Any thoughts on the services that Extendly offers? Christopher, yeah, I think that they have a very successsul organization as far as I can tell, in terms of their growth and, like I said, as far as I can tell, they're quite successful at what they do. I think that they're smart. They use high level very effectively. And I think that they probably have a ton of value to offer just about everybody. And I also think that with any service like that, whether it's Extendly or HL Pro Tools or any of those, the devil's kind of in the details of exactly what they're going to do for you, exactly how they're going to fit into your overall service delivery mix. And so I think that it's important that you, just like really kind of trial run it. You know what I mean? Like, trial run whatever it is that you're going to have them do for you, and just make sure that you can collaborate with them to make sure it's a good fit for you. I've seen too many people. The reason why I stress this, I've seen too many people think that they can just sign up for HL Pro Tools, like outsource support services, and then they feel like, oh, I can just drop that out of my mind now. Doing support for my customers, taken care of. And that is not the case. I don't care how good of a job Extendly does. That's not the case. Like, you have got to still own the customer experience, and you've got to understand the limitations of what Extendly can do for you, because there's limitations, right? They're not your employees. They can't customize the response of what they're doing exactly to meet your business requirements. There's going to be some point where it just doesn't really completely integrate with what you want to have happen. And so you need to own that. You need to know that, and you need to make sure that you're still delivering the customer service experience that you want to. So that's a mouthful. I think that, like I said, by every indication, I can think that they're a good business and that they do a good job, and just don't expect it to be miracles. Okay. Austin says, don't think your product page is working. When I click, it goes to an error page. That would be not good. I'm not getting that same experience at all, Austin. I think it's possible it may be something in your end, your internet connection, something. I don't know. I just give it a shot. Keep on trying. I just went through it half a dozen times there, and it worked just fine. So hopefully it pops up for you here in a second. Awesome. Oh, like when you click on go to all access, that could be possible, because I know we just migrated some stuff. Although it seems to still be working for me. Huh. I don't know, Austin. Yeah, it seems that they all seem to be working for me. Maybe if you wouldn't mind, you could send an email to help@servicesthatscale.com. If you're, maybe screenshot whatever you're experiencing and send it in. I would appreciate it. We will certainly look after it and take care of it. Awesome. Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Awesome. Thank you. Cool. All right, everybody. Time to wrap it up. We've been here an hour and a half. Have a fantastic Friday, rest of your weekend. I hope that you can join me on our growth bootcamp next week. We will continue to have office hours though. And keep an eye out for, I've got other kind of end of year goodies and stuff coming your way. So keep an eye out for those. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you so much for being a part of my community and for your business. And I look forward to seeing you on a future call and in the community in between calls. Okay. I'm in there. My team is in there. We've actually hired another person to just be in there in the community, keep an eye on things and responding to things. So we'll try and make that as responsive as we can during the week in between these calls. So please feel free to post any questions that you have there, and we'll do our best to keep up with you there. Okay. Have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.